Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. First up for T&D today, we have the King Otis mug from Fat Bear Week of last year. I know this year he was knocked out early in the rounds. It was a very difficult day in this house, but we love King Otis here. We love the big man, so we like to support him. And inside of it, I have some of my Shadowfall Slumber from D&T. Very, very good. Nice, sort of rounding out the day kind of flavor. Highly recommend it if you're going to be getting stuff from them. I really enjoyed it so far. But getting into what we're actually talking about today, because that is why we're all here. It's Thursday, which means that in addition to Critical Role, which is what I'm apparently wearing all of right now, we are doing a third-party Thursday. And that third-party Thursday this time is Poisoncraft and Alchemy. This book is real cool. I'm really excited to get to talk about it because I have really enjoyed this one. It was one that kind of snuck up on me. Obviously, I knew that it was going to be cool. I liked it a lot. I backed it on Kickstarter. But I have come to find that I really like this book. It has a very cool vibe to it all around. Plus, it is full of really good stuff. And I'm going to kind of walk you through what that is and talk to you a little bit about what that is. That's what we do on Third Party Thursday. So let's go ahead. Let's crack this bad boy open, shall we? We're going to start the way we always do with just sort of a walkthrough of the table of contents here because it gives you a scope of what everything is. And then we're going to flip to a couple of highlights that I really personally enjoyed a lot. Contents in no particular order. Chapter 1 is the Philosopher's Approach on Alchemy. It contains things like just sort of like background lore for alchemy and how you can use it in your world. Brief history of alchemy, principle of alchemy, alchemical method, use of alchemy, alchemy in the world, like I said. So this is sort of your launching board. It's only a couple of pages long, so you're not going to be like spending a whole lot of time slogging through a bunch of lore. It's short and sweet. Chapter 2 is the Art of Alchemy, alchemical styles, products, symbolism, and myths and legends. Again, only a few pages long here, but more good specific lore to be able to use, bring into your game. Chapter 3 is the Ethica Toxicum, poison stereotypes, poison morality, honor and treachery, classification, identification, the market, smuggling, and trading of poisons. Wow. Laws and acceptance. So this one is giving you like sort of world building ideas, the approach to poisoncraft and alchemicals in your world that you might be able to run with, which is always really cool and a lot of fun. Chapter 24 is Chapter 4, page 24, is the Adepts of Alchemy. They have a full new class in it called the True Alchemist that we'll take a quick look at, but it's hard to go through a full class without having a full dedicated episode for it. And then they have subclasses for each of the core 12 classes from 5th edition rules. So that's Barbarian through Wizard, no Blood Hunter, no Artificer. So you get that in there as well. Moving on to the next one, we have Chapter 5, Alchemist Armaments. They have things like equipment, items, poisons, explosives, alchemist stock, potions, herbs, and components in there. This is different than what I initially thought it was going to be. This is a really cool chapter because it's almost 30 pages of like really specific things that you can have for alchemists and alchemical work in your world. I thought maybe it was going to be like magic items and stuff. That is not the case because magic items come in Chapter 6, Magic and Mayhem. Spells, magic items, concoctions, and procedures. Again, more cool, fun player and DM options there. Chapter 7 is a World of Wonders, Citadel of Wonders, and Alchemical Organizations. This is deep lore for really for specifically the adventure that they have for you in Chapter 8. However, it is also stuff that you can sort of pick up and toss into your world, reskin it a little bit, you use it however you want to, or just pull it straight from the book because they do a lot of base building in this. Chapter 8, as I mentioned, is a mini adventure. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. It's a good sort of quick 1.5 to 2 shot probably. You could do it in one if you have players who are, moving forward, but that's not always the case. Chapter 9 is Creatures of Alchemy, Monsters, NPCs, Grandmasters, and Renowned Alchemists. And Chapter 10 is Alchemist Perspective, optional rules, expanded artisan tools, and optional alchemy system. So we have a lot to actually get through in this one because there is not a huge section of like stat blocks that we can kind of like flip through real quick and move on. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go as fast as we can here. First up, Chapter 1, Philosopher's Approach on Alchemy. I don't really think we need to go through that too much. It is very, very cool. But it is ultimately background information that is optional. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. So it sets up what's going to be in the rest of the book pretty well to give you sort of like flavor text behind it, but you definitely don't need to actually dive into it. Starting with the Art of Alchemy in Chapter 2, let's get to page 10 here. It explains a lot of the things that you're going to actually be interacting with in this book. Including a lot of the different, God, what am I trying to say here? A lot of the different vernacular that you are going to be coming across because they have a lot of specialty words in this. There is a sort of an index at the back for those specialty words as well, but it helps define them in the context of the world and the book early on here, which is really helpful because when you go, why do they keep saying enigmatic? It tells you, enigmatic alchemists utilize their art to understand the divine through trances and visions. And then there's several sentences of explanation text associated with it. We're going to pretend that was a real sentence. So, moving forward to Chapter 3 here, the Ethica Toxicum. The big part of this one that stuck out to me was the market, smuggling, and trading of poisons, as well as the laws and acceptance associated with it. It's really interesting that they put this much thought into actually like how you could make this work for you. They talk about the accessibility of poisons. They talk about the identification of them, the prohibition of them, punishments for associated with them, different options for legal systems that they would work within: free trade, legal to own, legal to produce; restricted trade, legal to own, legal to produce; restricted trade, legal to own, illegal to produce; secured trade, illegal to own and produce; and outlawed and vilified. They give good examples for all of those things. We'll just go ahead with free trade, legal to own, legal to produce. Anyone can own and trade toxic substances. Anyone can create poisons from toxic substances without any consequences. Usage of toxic substances is not obstructive unless they are used in an act that is a blatant crime. So all of that just like baked in here to give you a good sort of like jumping off point for building the world around some of this information that they have here, which is always really cool. And I really appreciate that they go ahead and they do some of that for you, because sometimes you're just not thinking about it and then the player will throw something at you and you go, oh God, now I have to improvise this like law on the spot, which is never the most fun sometimes. That brings us to Chapter 4, which is going to be our first one that we really dive into. This is the character options. And I really do want to just like take a second to highlight this art style here, this like oil painting-esque almost art style that is throughout the entire book. They have these really sort of severe, deep, and dark often paintings in here. I won't even call them like figures or drawings or anything like that. They are all paintings and they're really just gorgeous. I love the way that they went with it, and I'm so glad that they did do that. So our true alchemist class, again, we're not going to go deep dive on it, but I'm going to hit some of the highlights here. Looking just sort of like at their quick build thing, they're a D6 hit die, intelligence-based class. It should be intelligence followed by either dex or con, depending. They get proficiency in light armor, medium armor, weapons, simple weapons, and heavy crossbows. Alchemist supplies, obviously. Saving throws in con and intelligence. And then 2 skills from animal handling, arcana, history, insight, investigation, medicine, or nature. So the whole deal with true alchemists, obviously, is that you make stuff. You do alchemical things. They have a leveling system here. Obviously, they have the normal leveling system, but as you level up every 4 levels or so, you gain a level in the concoction level that you can create. Those are obviously the potency of the concoctions that you create. You also gain shard essence, which is what you use to actually make these concoctions. So there's a couple of more complicated mechanics that you have to follow if you're going to be playing one of these, but it is still a really sort of cool class. One of the things that I like a lot is that from the get-go, you get to make a choice, At first level, you don't pick up your subclass, however, you pick up your alchemical style, which allows you to pick one of 5 different options that give you sort of like a baseline thing that you can do. There's chemistric, druidic, enigmatic, nomadic, and spadric. I don't know. I was one of the people that grew up reading a lot, and so I just like say words the way that I want to say them, even if they're totally wrong. So I really do appreciate that. This book also gives you, I believe it is 3, maybe it's 4, 1, 2, 3 different subclass. Yeah, 3 different subclasses to work with. And these are very much, they feel like different classes almost, which I appreciate and I do like a lot. Almost even more so than the way that like a Blood Hunter works. This does very much feel like entirely separate classes that you could be building with. It feels like you can make different characters with these. Because there's the Paradigm of Body, Paradigm of Fire, and Paradigm of Mind. Each of those obviously focuses on a very different thing. The body is focused on like Crystallis and that sort of thing, like fortifying yourself, fortifying via crystal and all that sort of thing. Fire is focused on explosion and fire and volatility, and Mind is focused on more of like the fluid sort of not so physical, more mental based aspects of the world. It's really interesting, and I enjoy it a lot. Moving forward from our full class, we have our subclasses from each of the core 12 classes. These are honestly all so cool. They really are. I know I say that a lot with a lot of the subclasses that I get in from different books here. However, these are really phenomenal. Not only is all of the art really gorgeous in each of them, there are 2 of them for each of the classes, but they do very different things for each class. And so you don't get one that feels like 2 sides of the same coin almost. In this one you have, for barbarians, we'll say, you have Path of Sensation and Path of Toxicity. They do very different things. The College of Euphoria and the College of Subjugation, the Contamination domain, the Dreamer domain, this is what I'm talking about. They are, even just by the name, you can tell that they are different. They are different from what the other one is going to be, which is really a useful thing to have when you are presenting a bunch of new subclasses. Are they all super perfectly balanced? No, you're never going to find that in a book. You're never going to find absolutely perfect balance across the board, but they are all actually very well balanced for the most part. There aren't any that stick out as wildly overpowered or wildly underpowered. They just are good. They fall within the A to B range pretty much universally, as opposed to some of them being like S triple plus and some of them being D tier. So I appreciate that a lot. I really do. Skipping forward from there, also contained in this section are new feats and new backgrounds. The new feats, not very exciting. They're like 4 pages long. They're things like, congratulations, you can make poison, like Poison Adept, that kind of thing. So we're not really going to take a whole lot of time to look at those. We are going to jump past that to chapter 5 now. We're going to take a quick little look-see at the alchemist's armaments and all of that. So the reason that I really thought that this was like a magic item section is because if you look at it, you can see here that they have a series of items listed out here. They are named, they have different things, but they are not magical for the most part. Like the boot blade is a weapon, parentheses special. Boots have a special compartment that contains a blade with a string. As part of your attack action, you can deploy the boot blade and you gain advantage on sleight of hand and stealth checks to hide your blade. When you apply a dose of poison to the blade, it stays active for 8 hours while the blade is not deployed. Blade deals 1d4 piercing damage. It's just, there's so much of this, specifically. There's so many of these like gadgets that can be used with your poisoner, with your alchemist, with that kind of thing. And they really just kind of roll one to the next as you read through it, because it goes from equipment to items to poisons to explosives to stock to potions to herbs to components. And that covers, again, almost 30 full pages. It's a really fascinating section because it really shows the creativity and the depth to which that they thought about these things, and the amount that they really sort of like put in trying to make this as cohesive of a section as possible. I know we're going a little long. I'm trying to speed up here a little bit. Chapter 6 is Magic and Mayhem. There is, again, a lot of really fun stuff in this section. You're noticing a theme here. I think this book is really fun. But I want to stop in on one of the spells real quick because I thought it was really cool when I read it. Let's see here. So first off, if you're watching, you can see there's this whole list of spells here that I'm tapping on right now. If you are listening, that is something like 30 spells probably. I didn't count them because I am bad at my job sometimes. But that is A-okay. The one that I actually wanted to sit on and take a look at here with you is, where are you? Oh man, shoot. I read it before I started and I didn't write it down because I went, oh, that'll be fine. Here we go. Glimpse of Immortality, a 9th level transmutation spell that is a reaction. That's the first thing that stuck out to me with this one. For a brief duration, you can imbue yourself with the power of eternal life. You are immune to the effects of aging, disease, poison, damage, and all effects of poisons. You're cured of all conditions and a level of exhaustion. While under the effects of the spell, your hit points cannot drop below 1. In addition, you recover 20 hit points while the effect persists. It lasts for a minute, no concentration. As a side effect, you focus all your magical ability on the spell. You cannot cast spells for the duration of the spell and for 10 minutes after the spell ends. You cannot end the spell voluntarily. It lasts until it is dispelled or until the duration ends. So, the trade-off for it being a 9th level, no concentration reaction spell is the fact that it really sort of handicaps you. But it is really, really good if you are running away. Like, this is your get-out-of-jail card. And there is nothing wrong with having one of those in your back pocket because, quite frankly, you need some more of them. And honestly, I love having a high-level spell that is a versatile kind of spell like that. Or I love having one stocked that can do that sort of thing. Because, again, there aren't that many high-level ones that can do that. And the fact that it makes it so you cannot drop below 1 hit point for a full minute is phenomenal. It means you can just keep running and just get absolutely destroyed from a barrage of arrows or several fireballs or something like that. It doesn't matter at a certain point if you're failing every dexterity save. It doesn't matter if you're failing your charisma save. It doesn't matter because you're just running. And that's really, really fun. Okay. Let's see here. We went a little longer than I wanted to on getting through some of that. Let's skip forward to the monsters and NPCs here, because that is the other part that I really, really like. The adventure is really cool. If you do get this book, I highly recommend reading through it because it's fun. It really is. And it is very well detailed, which I really, really appreciate, obviously, because I like a good detailed adventure. What I really also appreciate about the creatures in this section, the monsters specifically, is that while they have a few, and by a few I mean like 3, low CR monsters, these are mostly mid to high level CR. I so appreciate that because I love those higher level monsters. There are 3 of them here that are over 20, and the vast majority are over 10, with the exception of 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's it, 4. Other than that, they're all over 10, which is really, really fantastic. I love that a lot. Let's just go ahead and let's look at this one here. This is the one that caught my eye the most. This is the Diamond Unicorn. It is a CR20 monster. It's it's just really cool, and it's a beast. Technically, it's a beast, which means that Shape Change Druid level 20. Here you go. Here it is. But it's not that there's anything like overly incredible about it. It's just really, really cool. It does have a light burst with a recharge of 4 to 6, which is a 50% recharge. It emits a bright ray of light in a 60-foot area. Every creature must succeed on a DC 20 con save or become blinded until cured. Nothing else. There's no like repeat the save. You just have to get cured of blindness for that to stop. And then there's a bunch of other, like, just kind of cool things associated with it. Again, I'm not going to sit here and just read through a stat block for you. You guys can read through it if you do decide to get this book. And I have talked for long enough already because it is a good ways into this episode. So, Alchemy and Poisoncraft, highly, highly recommend getting it because, again, It's really cool, and I like it a lot, and the art is so pretty. If you can see the cover of it, most of the art is similar to this. Also, the fact that the cover is matte with a little bit of, like, additional filigree that's shiny and not matte is... Oh, I love it. Plus, it comes with a ribbon. Look, you get a bookmark with it. So, Alchemy Poisoncraft, check it out. It is from the Cabal of Enchantment. It says it on the back there, and on the front right there. Very, very good stuff. Moving on to the shows that we have today. Where are you? There we go. Today, in no particular order, we have Critical Role. Very excited about that. Authors and Dragons, NADPOD, and LGBT D&D. Let them know that I sent you because, again, someday somebody's going to say something to me about it. And until then, I'm just going to keep asking you guys to do it because I'm going to think it's funny when it happens. But that is everything I have to talk to you guys about today. So, thank you so very much for making me part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much, in particular, to my patrons. You guys are the ones that make this show possible. If you're interested in becoming a patron, check out the link in the episode description. Yeah. So, with all that said, guys, don't forget, drink tea, play D&D, and keep on rolling.